My bonus son came into my life when he was in middle school. He walked up to me one day holding his Game Boy and asked me if I could help him read something on his video screen. I said yes. Then I immediately went into teacher mode. I started asking him to sound things out. I started correcting him. I turned the moment where he trusted me enough to ask for help into a reading lesson, and I watched him shut down in real time. Took us a long time to rebuild from that. And what I learned from that experience and what brain research Dr. Daniel Siegel's work confirmed for me is that connection has to come before correction, always. Siegel calls it one of the most important principles in raising kids whose brains are still forming. I call it what I learned the hard way. A conversation is how connection happens. I'm Kelly Sutherland, National Board Certified Teacher and Reading Specialist with specialized training in dyslexia intervention. I teach fifth grade, and I run the Family Learning Adventures membership, where I help families build the thinking skills kids need inside school today and the AI-ready skills they'll need for life. Not through more worksheets, but through the moments you're already having together. This is a third video in the series, so if you've missed the other two, check the link in the description to find out more about how reading scores are falling and what parents can actually do about it. In video 1, we looked at that research. And in video 2, we walked through the 3 systems. Most of the parents I talk to are managing the crisis right in front of them. Tonight's homework, this week's IEP, next month's grades, and I get it. I'm in the classroom every day. Crisis management is real. But the Dream Manager system asks a different question. What do you actually dream for your child? And are the choices you're making today actually pointing towards that dream or just surviving the week? When you combine the long view thinking with the head coach framework, something shifts. You stop reacting and start leading. I'll show you exactly how they work together. The link is in the description. In this video, we're going to go deep into the one thing that makes all 3 systems work: the conversation. Why conversation is the curriculum. Here's what I mean when I say conversation is the curriculum. I don't mean having a lesson at the dinner table. I don't mean quizzing your child. I mean this. The background knowledge your child needs to comprehend what they read gets built in conversation. Remember the baseball study from video 1? Background knowledge overrode reading skill every time. That background knowledge didn't come from a worksheet. It came from living in a world where baseball was talked about, where questions got asked, where stories got told, where someone went 5 rounds on a topic with a curious kid. Natalie Wexler's knowledge gap research shows us that the families who build the most background knowledge aren't the families doing the most academic prep. They're the families having the most conversations. And Dr. Zucker and Dr. Cabell Strive for 5 research gives us the specific mechanism. 5 back and forth exchanges build the oral language scaffolding that comprehension depends on. So when I say conversation is the curriculum, I mean it literally. Conversation is the learning. What this actually looks like. Let me give you 3 scenarios because I know have more conversations sounds simple, but it isn't always simple to do. Scenario 1, the exhausted weeknight. Everyone's been in school and at work all day, dinner is rushed, and homework is looming. The Strive for 5 doesn't have to be elaborate. What was the most interesting thing you heard today? Then 5 exchanges. That's it. Scenario 2. Your child has ADHD and derails every conversation. You start talking about one thing and end up 3 topics away in 45 seconds. Good news, the Strive for 5 works even in chaotic ADHD conversation. And I promise you, my husband and I, who both have ADHD, circle around to multiple conversations all the time. Because the research tracks the changes, not the topic. Every redirect is still an exchange. The language is still being built. Scenario 3. Your child has dyslexia and hates anything that feels like reading practice. The Strive for Five doesn't have to be about books. It can be about a video game, a YouTube video they watched, something they built, something they're curious about. The oral language transfers to reading regardless of the topic. NotebookLM as a conversation partner. Here's where I want to connect video 2 and video 3 together. In this video, I want to show you how it becomes a conversational tool. Here's the setup. Your child uploads a reading assignment into NotebookLM. They prompt it. What are 3 things someone might wonder about this? Then you read those 3 things together, and you go 5 rounds with one of them. What just happened? Notebook generated a conversation starter. Your child engaged with complex text through questions, and you had a Strive for Five conversation around it. That's the biliterate brain in action. Digital tool, print text, oral language comprehension, all working together. And I want to be honest with you. This takes practice to set up. It doesn't happen perfectly the first time, but it does happen. And once you have the system, it becomes one of the most powerful things in your toolkit. So let me bring all 3 videos together. The reading crisis is real. The NAEP data is real. The digital comprehension challenge is real, but so is the solution. Text mapping builds the deep reading skills that Marianne Wolf is advocating for. NotebookLM bridges that into a digital world, and the Family Learning Board makes all of it visible, trackable, and something the whole family can celebrate together. But underneath all 3 systems is the thing that makes them work: the conversation. The questions you ask in the car, the book you talk about at dinner, the trip to a place you read about together. That's not supplemental to the learning. That is the learning. Drop the word reading in the comments and tell me, is your child's biggest challenge decoding the words, understanding what they read, or staying focused long enough to get through it? Video 1 and 2 is linked in the description in case you missed them. And don't forget to check out my free Learning in a Distracted World community, where you can find free resources, links to other videos that might interest you, and a community of families that are going through the same process you are. I'm Kelly Sutherland, and I'll see you in the next video.